Hello and welcome to the brand new road.cc Roundup, the show where we take a look at some of the latest and greatest news stories from the world of cycling. This week, as we enter April, we've got wacky new tech, the latest racing news, and stick around until the end for the news on Britain's latest cycling race. First up, we have a brand new road bike from Trek. This time last year, we brought you a world exclusive of Trek's Aero road bike, the Madone, and now it's the Emonda's turn, the brand's lightweight climbing bike. These spy shots indicate that Trek is doubling down on the hull, removing yet more material, this time from the head tube. We can expect Trek to cite aero benefits, as the hull will help to reduce drag by giving the stagnant air in this area somewhere to go, just like it does at the seat tube. Given previous Trek releases, we can expect to see the new Emonda first used in earnest at the Giro d'Italia, under the likes of climbers such as Ciccone and Balcomolema, who will be gunning for the Young Riders jersey. British Cycling ruffled plenty of oil-slicked feathers when it signed a long-term partnership deal with Shell that runs until 2030. To try and boost membership, British Cycling has announced its latest initiative to recruit new members as it tries to bounce back. Starting from today, April the 1st, any cyclist to purchase a silver membership or above will receive a 5% off Shell fuel voucher that can be redeemed at any one of the Shell's 1,100 UK fuel stations. A spokesperson for British Cycling said, "We're very thankful for Shell's support, and this new initiative should allow money-pressed bike riders to stay dry and enjoy more commutes by car." We've seen plenty of wacky aero tech recently, and we included plenty of the ones that we thought were most over the top in our ridiculous aero video. In 2023, it's handlebars that have been the talk of the town as far as aero is concerned anyway, since the UCI introduced their 35cm rule this season. However, rather than turn in the shifters like we've seen other riders doing, Bianchi has come up with a more radical solution. These folding handlebars claim to satisfy the pre-race UCI checks and then fold in to reduce drag in the heat of the race. Hugo Hofstede of Arkeus Samsic has already been seen using these in earnest, deploying the folding bars not once but twice during the early season Grand Prix de Danain, although weirdly only one side at a time. This isn't the first time we've seen folding bars. Canyon released their folding bars in 2020, but cited that this was for transportation rather than for a performance gain. Sticking with aero, Alpecin, title sponsor of Mathieu van der Poel and his team Alpecin de Koenig, have launched a new shampoo that claims to make your hair more aero. Alpecin is currently Germany's best-selling shampoo for men, and this new aero iteration claims to save 1.5 watts at 45 kilometers an hour. Alpecin says that it worked in a similar way to Pogacar's Tuft, and by making your hair more voluminous, creates a boundary layer of air that reduces the weight behind the rider's head. Lotto Dstny was one of the biggest losers of the new UCI points-based system in 2022, and hence has dropped down to pro team level for the 2023 season. In a bid to reclaim World Tour status, star riders such as Caleb Ewan will now be using L-shaped cranks. Z-Talk, who have been working with Lotto Dstny to develop a new set of L-shaped cranks, claims that compared to conventional crank arms, these offer smoother pedaling, more power to climb hills, less perceived effort to pedal, faster acceleration, less affected by headwinds, I assume that's the riders, not the cranks, and the ability to turn higher gearing. The bike industry is often slated for its rather loose use of the word standard. And I do have to agree, when there are quite so many standards out there, it is indeed hard to call it a standard at all. Well, the big market players have finally got their act together and claim to have solved the issue of varying bottom bracket sizes, headset bearings, and through axle thread pitches. Cannondale, Giant, Specialized, Scott and Merida have all agreed to use one new standard set of measurements across all of their components to improve the consumer experience, reduce manufacturing costs, and help spare parts be more readily available. The brands have dubbed the new standard as New BS, standing for New Bearing Standard, and it will begin to roll out on new bikes from this summer. We've already shared some of our thoughts and predictions on the Specialized SL8 that we expect to hit the roads this June. However, latest rumours indicate that we were wrong, and the SL8 will in fact be rim brake and mechanical group set only. Reports indicate that Specialized have used their wind tunnel to prove that lightweight is king. This latest marketing slogan taking over from Aero is everything. But this is by no means the first time that Specialized has made a marketing U-turn. Just last year we saw the release of the Rapide CLX and CL2, add tubeless compatibility to a wheelset that bucks recent trends by being clincher only. Specialized refused to comment on when we might expect to see the new bike, but did tell us that we can expect the new frame to make mammals 98% faster, 5% poorer, and 58% more likely to be asked about their bike on the Surrey Club Run. It really has been a chocker week for news, and Wahoo continued its regular mapping updates with new features for the Bolt V2 and Roam V2 cycle computers. The new feature is said to warn road cyclists when they're getting too close to gravel, sounding an alarm and flashing the LEDs to alert the rider. Wahoo says that this feature, which follows hot on the tails of Hammerhead's new distance to surface change, will help traditional road cyclists resist the allure of gravel riding. A spokesperson for Wahoo told us that road cyclists have been perfectly happy without gravel for decades, and many just don't want to ride off-road. However, in this day and age, it's all too easy to find yourself off the beaten track. This can have a seriously negative effect on cyclists, such as improving their bike handling skills and leaving them having to convince their family that they need yet another bike. According to Wahoo, this feature was extremely popular within focus groups made up entirely of husbands and wives that don't cycle. Bromptons are absolutely excellent machines. For example, this £1,650 C-line that we reviewed back in February scored a 9 out of 10. However, this kind of quality does come at a cost. Even the cheapest A-line Brompton starts at £899, and for many, this is a barrier to entry. This is a fact that Brompton is well aware of, and to help overcome this at a time when the UK economy and population is struggling, it has launched a new subscription-based model. We've seen plenty of bike brands offer finance on their bikes, but the Brompton model differs by allowing you to purchase the bike in parts. The subscription service starts at £250 per month, and Brompton claims that after just 2 months, customers can expect to have the front half of the frame. A further 2 months will buy you some wheels, and the final instalment after 4 months includes the rear half of the folding frame. The new line will be appearing on Brompton's website soon under the new section headed ASS. A-line subscription service. Most people will agree that we're in a dark time for British cycling racing. Ineos Grenadiers remains the only British World Tour team, and British Continental teams, the next tier down from that, have been dropping like flies. 2023 has seen the death of teams such as Ribble Weldtie and AT85, formerly with Sungov, follow in the footsteps of Swift Carbon Pro Cycling. In an attempt to prove that the British racing scene is still kicking, British Cycling has announced a new one-day event for all of its Continental teams. This is all we know about the race so far, but the press release does show a picture of all the teams expected to hit the start line. London is no stranger to big cycling events. Of course, 2012 was a highlight, but every year it also hosts other events such as Prudential Ride London. Well, in 2023, we expect to see a brand new event hit the city streets. London City Council has announced plans to imitate this year's Giro d'Italia. Well, stage 1 of it anyway. The opening stage of this year's 2023 Giro is an ITT raced almost entirely along the Ciclovia dei Trabocchi, I think, a cycle path that runs along the Italian coastline. Not to be outdone, London plans to host its very own TT event along a cycle path. The route has been decided and a newly developed stretch of cycle path has been selected. This was in fact the same cycle path which broke the record for England's longest unbroken cycle path. The race will be 150 metres long, and riders can expect to avoid obstacles such as pedestrians walking 5 abreast, floating bus stops and park delivery vans. Times are changing, and Hells Angels are looking to improve their green image by allowing riders on e-bikes at their club runs. Members can typically be seen riding Harley-Davidson motorcycles, but given the negative environmental image that is associated with this, Hells Angels is becoming more inclusive and now allowing e-bikes of all styles and sizes. And our final news story of the inaugural road.cc Roundup is that Nopinz has released a gravel skinsuit. The Pro 1 gravel suit claims to cope with the arduous demands of gravel racing whilst providing an aerodynamic edge. This is the first gravel-specific product from Nopinz and has cargo pockets and will likely be used at this year's Gravel World Champs hosted in Scotland. Oh, and unlike all of the other news, this one is actually true. Let us know which is your favourite April Fool's idea down below. Did we convince you that any were legit? If you like this content, then give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.